There's been a lot of bad games based on the James Bond films, but some of them are so terrible that you really have to wonder why they bothered making them in the first place. Case in point, James Bond 007. Overall, it's boring, drab, and insanely difficult. So anyway, let's get into it. James Bond 007 for the Commodore 64. To start off, I'm not going to slam the game's graphics that much. After all, it came out in 1984, so what do you expect? Having said that, even for an 80s game, the graphics look really generic. In fact, they're so generic that virtually nothing stands out as being from the James Bond films. Aside from the title screens, this could be any game. Despite the graphical limitations of the time, they still could have done more to make it look like a James Bond game. Also, I'm not sure what certain objects are supposed to be. What the fuck is this? A hand blender from hell? Actually, I think it's supposed to be a satellite. But who the fuck knows? The game sure doesn't make it easy to figure out. And there's diamonds floating in the sky. Yes, I know this level is based off the movie Diamonds Are Forever, but they're taking it too literally in this case. One other issue with the graphics is when the game flashes. If you blast a diamond, the game flashes temporarily. And if you blast several diamonds, the game flashes for several seconds. So if you're an epileptic, watch out. You might end up getting a grand mal seizure from this game. Did the game designers even think about that when they made this fucking piece of shit? Well, obviously not, because they kept it in the game. Moving on, the controls in this game are really confusing. On the title screen, F1 starts the game. Number 1 on the keyboard makes you jump, while 2 allows you to move forward to about mid-screen. The other number buttons also allow you to jump and move forward to a certain degree, and the A button allows you to move back to the left side of the screen. As I said, it's really confusing. It would have been much better if they allowed you to use the keypad instead. So of course they don't do that! Your sole weapon in the game are the missiles from your car, and they can be fired with the spacebar. But then these fucking missiles go off in odd directions, which makes it even harder to hit anything. Worse yet, the controls feel really sluggish. And in a side-scrolling driving game where you have to avoid pits and projectiles, that's a real deal-breaker. However, even if the controls were tight as hell, the basic setup on the keyboard sucks. It's almost like they designed this game to be as unwieldy as humanly possible. As for the gameplay, it ain't much better. On the select screen, you can choose from Novice or Agent difficulty, which doesn't seem to make a whole hell of a lot of difference because the game's hard as shit either way. Along with the difficulty, you can select from 1 or 2 players, though you'd have to be pretty fucking desperate for friends to get anybody to play this shit pile. When the game begins, you get a pick of some guy whom I guess is supposed to be James Bond. I don't know, I guess you're just supposed to use your imagination. Anyway, you get in Bond's car and you take off for the desert. Yes, a desert full of lava pits that looks like the fucking moon. I'm guessing verisimilitude was not high in their list of priorities when they made this game. In any case, you have to drive along and avoid projectiles from above. Plus you have to jump over lava pits and blast diamonds out of the air. Unfortunately, your missiles can only blast the diamonds. That's right, you can't destroy the satellites. Nice, just fucking lovely. At this rate, the car may as well fire out fucking tampons. What really pisses me off, though, are these goddamn satellites. They drop bombs on the ground that make even more pits. And this makes maneuvering even more difficult. You manage to clear one pit, then bam, another one opens up and you fall right into it. You basically have to jump and move and hope you can get across. Of course, if the controls were any better, this might be a little fucking easier. Nope, though, we can't have that. We gotta make the gameplay cheap and unfair. I also have one question. What the fuck does this have to do with Diamonds Are Forever? I don't remember any part of the movie where he's jumping over lava pits in his car. This game has almost nothing to do with James Bond. You just drive around, avoid projectiles, and crash into pits until you run out of lives. The gameplay is so boring that after about 5 minutes, I can almost guarantee that you're going to want to quit. Unless, of course, you have a grand mal seizure first, in which case you'll probably only be playing this game for about 30 seconds. If by some miracle you manage to get far enough, the car turns into a boat and you go on the water. Oh, but first you have to jump over this little bit of land or else you'll crash and lose a life. But the control scheme is so fucked up that it makes it a lot harder to do than it should be. And once you're on the water, there's even more shit to deal with. Not only are there more satellites, now you gotta face divers too. And these frogmen have almost perfect aim. Even if you're nearly past them, they can still kill you. The game does give you 5 lives. But it's so fucking hard that you'll piss through them like a drunk on a Jägermeister bender. The game's music is alright. It has an okay rendition of the Bond theme. Here, listen. It won't win any awards, but at least it's not horrible. Honestly, I think the very idea of this game was flawed right from the start. If they wanted to do a Bond game, they should have done something more like Berserk or River Raid. Because the game as it is now is just pure junk. So in conclusion, even if you're a big Bond enthusiast, skip this game and go play GoldenEye instead. At least that one is worthy of the film series legacy. This is Film and Stuff signing off. Thanks for watching. At this rate, the car may as well fire out fucking tampons!